Hello, I'm Leicester Police Chief Jim Hurley, and welcome to this edition of the Leicester Police Weekly News. During this segment, we will cover events that occurred in your Leicester Police Department from April 20th, 2016 to April 27th, 2016. If you haven't seen this show before, this is a new edition of a partnership between the Police Department and Leicester Public Access Cable, during which we are going to attempt to get information out on a weekly basis to our residents. So without any delay, let's begin. The first incident that we are going to discuss, you can see from the photo on your screen, is a crash that occurred on 4/20/2016 on Main Street and involved personal injury. Let's listen to the dispatch for this call.
Station L2 8876, I have a report of a two-car motor vehicle accident, Route 9 at Lake Ave, no PI. Route 9 at Lake Ave, no PI.
76 has it? 88 receipt.
The accident occurred when vehicle number 1, which was traveling west on Main Street, stopped to make a turn onto Rawson Street and was rear-ended by vehicle number 2. You can see from the photos on your screen that the damage clearly indicates that this was a rear-end collision, and the operator of vehicle number 1 was transported to the hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. That accident was investigated by Officer Scott Brooks. For the next photo on your screen, you'll see that the crash that we are going to be speaking about occurred on 4/22/2016 at approximately 1:35 a.m. in the morning. Let's take a moment to listen to the dispatch for that call.
Station 11.
Go ahead.
Sir, I'm not sure if you're the east sector, but 101 Marshall Street reporting motor vehicle upside down, no occupants around the vehicle or inside the vehicle. Again, it's 101 Marshall Street.
Okay, received. I'm staffed by the Worcester line. I'll be heading up that way.
Received.
Will be en route as well.
Received 29.
As you can see from the photos on your screen, this was a rollover motor vehicle accident. Vehicle number 1 was traveling east on Marshall Street. It entered the wrong lane of travel. When the operator swerved to take corrective action, the vehicle exited the roadway, struck a stone wall and a tree in the vicinity of 101 Marshall Street, and then rolled over. There was damage to private property, but there were no injuries as a result of this crash. And from the next photo you see on your screen, which is a little bit dark, you can see where the vehicle came to what we call final rest, which is in the woods upside down. And from the next photo on your screen, you can see the gouge that was taken out of the tree on Marshall Street. The next accident we're going to talk about occurred on Auburn Street on 4/23/2016 at 7:38 a.m. This is on the Auburn Street Bridge, which has been the location of a number of crashes. Let's listen to the police department call for that crash.
Station L1714, update from the state. Gentleman called the state, 911. Said he has a minor head injury, and he said to the state police he does not want an ambulance. Advise when you get there, please.
This crash occurred when the operator of the vehicle stated he turned onto Auburn Street. He glanced over to check his GPS system and went off the roadway. You can see that he took down several sections of the wire guardrail that will need to be repaired. Fortunately, there were no injuries. The next incident that we're going to discuss is a crash that occurred on Crestwood Road on 4/23/16 at 9:18 a.m. The first picture you see on your screen is the officer's diagram of the accident. Now, in order to understand this accident, you have to take a good look at the diagram. Vehicle number 1 is heading down the street, and there are 2 vehicles that are on the street that appear to be parked. Vehicle number 1 crosses over and hits vehicle number 2 head on and pushes it backwards into vehicle number 3. So if you look at the next photos on your screen, vehicle number 1 has front end damage. I show the rear end damage to vehicle number 2 and the front end damage to vehicle number 3. Obviously there has to be front end damage to vehicle number 2. But what's interesting about this is the impact of vehicle number 2 being pushed back into vehicle number 3 dislodges the bumper of the car when they collided and had to be separated. The operator of the vehicle that caused this accident, vehicle number 1, indicated that he fell asleep while operating. The next accident that we're going to discuss about occurred on 4/23/16 at 9:29 a.m. and this was on Henshaw Street. This was a single vehicle accident, as you can see from the photo on your screen, which is the officer's diagram, and the operator of that vehicle struck a large rock and tree and then went off the roadway. The photo of the crashed vehicle, which is on your screen, shows the extensive damage to the vehicle, which after it struck the tree and the rock crossed over and went on to the other side of the roadway. The operator of this vehicle stated he was traveling south on Henshaw Street when he heard some kind of snapping sound from his right front end. He then lost control of the vehicle, went off the roadway, striking the large rock and tree, and then crossed over to where you see the vehicle came to final rest. There were no injuries reported in connection with that accident. This next incident was a vandalism that occurred on Rawson Street. As you can see from the photo on your screen, that the front window was broken. It was believed to have been broken by some type of a projectile, likely from a pellet gun. If you have any information regarding this type of vandalism, because over the years we've had several incidents similar to this, if you have any information as to who might be responsible for it, please contact the Leicester Police Department. The next incident which we are going to discuss is a crash and arrest that occurred on Main Street here in Leicester. This was on 4/24/2016 at 1:27 a.m. That's in the morning, and this incident occurred right in the vicinity of the driveway for 724 Main Street. Well, let's listen to the audio tape that we have pertaining to this call.
84 station.
Go ahead.
Be out with a vehicle off the road, Main Street, just east of Wade Street.
As you can see from the operator's, from the officer's investigative diagram on the screen, vehicle number 1 was traveling west on Main Street. It struck a curb in the area of 724 Main Street, then crossed the road and came to final rest, striking the embankment on the opposite side. The operator stated that he had just received a call on his cell phone, and he looked down at his phone and crashed. The operator was arrested for operating under the influence of intoxicating liquor. This next crash that we're going to show you occurred on Route 9, directly across the street from Walmart. There was no personal injury involved in this crash, but it's actually kind of an interesting crash where the vehicle went right through someone's front yard, hit the front of their front walkway, and then went into the woods. So let's take a minute and listen to the audio file associated with this incident.
Station House 17 and 87. Got a motor vehicle accident across from the Walmart. One vehicle involved. Unknown injuries.
87 received. 17 has it.
The next photo that you see on your screen actually shows the front bumper of the car on the lawn of the house across the street from Walmart. And the 2 red arrows that you see on the screen indicate where the tires were when they went across the front lawn. You go to the next photo on your screen, and you can see that the front porch coming out of to the front walkway of this house is damaged by the car. The two red arrows show that the car, after it struck the porch area, went through the garden, across the lawn, and then struck some rocks in the front yard, and then eventually came to final rest in the woods outside the house. And then the photo you see on your screen now shows the damage to the interior of the motor vehicle. Airbags are deployed, and there is some damage. And then the next photo is the front end damage to the car after it had been pulled out of the woods and is being ready to put on to the wrecker. The operator indicated that this accident occurred when he turned around to, quote, yell at his children who were misbehaving in the vehicle, became distracted, and then went off the road. Fortunately, no injuries in that crash. The next one is at Marshall Street and Route 56. This crash did not involve any personal injury. You can see from the photo on your screen right now that the two vehicles crashed at the entrance to Marshall Street from Route 56. And the next photo that we're showing you on the screen shows a different angle, and you can see the airbag deployment which has occurred from this crash. Vehicle number one stated that they were traveling south on Paxton Street through the intersection of Marshall Street. And when the second vehicle, which was traveling west on Marshall Street, came to a stop at the intersection on Paxton Street and then proceeded and collided with the vehicle coming in the other direction. That investigation was conducted by Officer Frank Bullman. The next incident that we're going to discuss is an operating under the influence arrest that occurred on 4/25/2016 at 2:40 in the morning. Officers on routine patrol conducted a motor vehicle stop to investigate why a vehicle was in a certain area and why it was operating the way it was. When the officers began speaking with the operator asked the officers to quiet down because she had a 1-year-old child in the car. That obviously raised the officers' investigative intuition as to why there was a 1-year-old out in a vehicle at 2:40 a.m. The operator had further indicated that she was going to either pick up or drop off an ex-boyfriend. They felt that she was under the influence of alcohol. They asked her to get out and conduct field sobriety tests. During the discussion with her, she admitted to having 3 beers and 3 shots before driving the vehicle, and then at one point turned around and placed her hands behind her back. The officers asked her what she was doing, and she said, "Just go ahead and arrest me." She's been identified as Vanessa I. 70 of 14 Ives Street, Apartment 1 in Worcester. She's 28 years old. She was arrested for OUI alcohol, reckless child endangerment, and negligent operation of a motor vehicle. And yes, the officers did arrest her, but not until they had completed their investigation, which came after her request to be arrested. Another vandalism incident occurred here in town. You can see that the back window of this vehicle has been broken out. If you have any information as to how this may have occurred, please contact the Leicester Police Department with any information. There was a crash on Moose Hill Road with personal injury. Let's take a moment to listen to that audio file.
Station out 882976. I received a call from State Trooper, Moose Hill Road, Spencer Leicester line. Vehicle off the road with injuries. Station 10, the ambulance personnel, stand by for Tone 4 Road. Stand by for Tone 4, Moose Hill Road, the Spencer Leicester line. I have a motor vehicle off the road, reported PI. State Trooper. Station 10 to the ambulance personnel, please respond to Moose Hill Road in the area of the Spencer Leicester line. Motor vehicle off the road with PI.
29 has that being route. Don't lock that too.
Officers responded to the scene, and they found this motor vehicle off the roadway into the woods. They had to contact the fire department to open up the vehicle so that they could get the operator out of the motor vehicle. That operator sustained non-life-threatening injuries, and that investigation has been closed. The next photo that you see on your screen is from the Opioid Use and Abuse Forum with District Attorney Joseph Early that occurred on 4/27/16 at the Leicester High School. I'd like to thank the District Attorney for coming out and addressing the opioid crisis issue with us. I'd also like to thank all the panel members that participated in it, the many agencies that showed up ahead of time and handed out information and educational items. And I would like to thank the Leicester School Department for making the auditorium available to us and partnering with us. There is no doubt that the opioid problem in not only Massachusetts, central Massachusetts, and Leicester is truly a public safety emergency and a crisis, and the Leicester Police Department is working diligently to address that crisis with our partners, the District Attorney, the Town of Leicester, the School Department. Currently, we are here at the Leicester Police Department in the process of deploying Narcan to our officers. We offer free home drug test kits for parents who think that their children may be using illegal narcotics. You can call me at the Leicester Police Department and we'll make that test kit available to you free of charge. And we don't ask any questions. We simply give it to you with the instructions, and you can test your child and then take whatever action you think is necessary. Finally, we undertook an initiative a couple of weeks ago. We now have an Internet Safety Exchange Zone here at the Leicester Police Department. There are 2 parking spots out in front of the police department that have the sign that you see on your screen at this point in time. Those are available to anyone who is buying or selling an item to someone else on the internet, and you have to meet them to exchange the merchandise. You can do so here in the parking lot at the Leicester Police Department, which is a safe environment, and those 2 spots are covered by our external video surveillance. So you'd actually have video available should you need it if something happened, and the police dispatcher can monitor those sites or those parking spots from inside the station. This concludes this edition of the Leicester Police Department Weekly News, which is done in partnership with Leicester Public Access Cable. I'd like to thank the man behind the camera, Art Parquette, for coming down and taping the show with us and producing it. And we'll be on again next week with more information for you on what's occurred in your Leicester Police Department. Thanks for tuning in.